In the new world of revenue sharing, NC State going on the road and playing Notre Dame on a nationally televised game would be a very good thing. So in that case, we're thankful to be playing on NBC, right? NBC. Peacock.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Like the bird, the peacock. What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Tuesday show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can sign up today and get $200 back in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Head on over to FanDuel.com in order to get started. Happy Tuesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, we had an early NC State football schedule laid out to us on Monday afternoon. NC State knows the date and the time they'll be playing against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the road in South Bend. It is October the 11th. It'll be a 3:30 kickoff on NBC. Oh, wait, not even NBC. On Peacock. On Monday afternoon, Notre Dame announced their home schedule and their subsequent broadcasting schedule as well. They have 7 home games. 6 of them are on NBC, the national television channel. 1 of them is on Peacock. And as I already told you, guess who got the short end of the stick? The NC State Wolfpack. Kenton, number one, are you surprised that NC State will be playing on Peacock as all their other opponents will be on national television on NBC? And number two, how does this affect NC State in the terms of revenue sharing?
Grayson, this is disheartening to say the least. This is disappointing to say the least. This is nonsensical to say, again, the least. Let's look through the Notre Dame Fighting Irish's home schedule for just a quick second here to see who's playing who's got the fan base. Do you think Purdue has a bigger fan base than us?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, that game is nationally televised. What about Boise State? Boise State by chance?
Bigger, no. More relevant, maybe because of the CFP, maybe, but bigger, no.
We have analytical data that says NC State is not the worst draw. NC State is not even in the bottom. I don't believe they're in the bottom half of draws in terms of their home games. Hey, I'll give you Texas A&M. I'll give you a USC. I'll give you a Navy. So now I'm asking, what the hell else are they showing? What else is being shown? Because anybody who knows anything about NBC knows NBC doesn't have other football games outside of Notre Dame. That's it. NBC doesn't have a deal with any conference where they're displaying their game. So what is even happening here for this to be on Peacock instead of on TV? This is what Kendrick Lamar was talking about when he said stuff gets spooky every day in October, because this is spooky. This is nonsense. This is something that literally has me racking my brain saying it's hard to not be a black helicopter person, as they refer to NC State folks as, when you see a moment like this. The ACC has already cut a deal saying Miami is going to play him more often. Clemson's cut a deal separately saying they're going to play him every year. Florida State's in on that deal of the three-headed monster. It's like y'all are all going to play Notre Dame more often. So not only do you get Notre Dame less often than other teams in your exact same conference, but now you're on Peacock? Come on, dog. This is terrible. This is nonsensical. And again, if you want to tell me, well, Kenton, this makes sense based upon information X, Y, and Z, present me with that information. But what I know, it's not based on viewership from the year before. Can't be. Because of all their home games, we are not the lowest viewed team. And again, that's just what the data tells me. That's just what the data I've seen on viewership tells me. So we're not the lowest viewed team. And yet somehow we end up being the only one that's, left on streaming instead of on NBC. And for those of you who don't realize the difference, think about it this way. When you go to the gym, do you see NBC on or do you see Peacock? when you go to the bar, Carolina Ale House or Steak 48, I don't think they got TVs rolling at Steak 48, but whatever place you go that has TVs going at the bar, whatever the case may be, do you see Peacock or do you see NBC? So think about the loss of viewership through there, and then think about the amount of people who don't have access to Peacock at all that is going to lose. This is why I say, if you are an NC State fan, you must watch. You must watch as if the program's success is depending on you, because it is at this point. It is. And it's very clear that NC State is being set up to fail here. But I'm going to stop because I could literally go on about this and get to preaching like I'm Malcolm X or something. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take it, Grayson, because this is ridiculous.
It is a very corrupt game these days, but unfortunately, it is a game that NC State is going to have to find a way to play. And to your point, this is a subscription service. Peacock is a subscription service that NC State fans are going to have to sign up for. Hopefully, there's a free trial that you can sneak in there somewhere, but you're going to have to sign up to just watch this game. That's preposterous. How ridiculous is it, the amount of different streaming sites and services there are nowadays? Because it was supposed to be cutting costs from cable, and it's the easiest way to watch your television, whether it's YouTube TV or ESPN Plus. It's supposed to be simplistic. What in the world happened to that? Now you're going to have 6 different accounts on 18 different apps and streaming sites just to watch NC State play 4 quarters of football. It's preposterous. And the amount of money you have to distribute out in different avenues just to do that. What is happening to the game I love? There's bigger conversations about how NIL is ruining sports and the transfer portal is ruining sports. I'm way more peeved about the streaming sites and the way that is getting distributed out.
Yes.
That, in my opinion, that's what's ruining sports. It's the commercialization of these big TV companies. They want their money, and they want it now, and they want nobody else to have a cut of that pie either. This is ridiculous. And for NC State to be the only short end of this stick, 6 other home games from Notre Dame, just one of them is on Peacock. I freaking bet it's the NC State Wolfpack. I bet it is. It's definitely a shame, and it's really not something that NC State is a complete stranger to either, where, the early days of Raycom, that was a ridiculous TV deal that we unfortunately got involved in because the ACC was, we know what it was. It was corrupt back in those days. The CW was the latest installment. Some people couldn't watch it on the CW, even though the CW, I think, is on most streaming sites and you can connect it to cable. I have some friends that could not watch the games if it was on the CW. And now you're just adding another hoop to have to jump through, having to find this game on Peacock, signing up and making another account. It's ridiculous. I'm tired of it. Football aside, it's a shame that NC State is, basically being subjected as the least interesting team that Notre Dame's going to play over the course of their entire season, which I don't believe to be true either. But nonetheless, it just feels like a slap in the face to NC State. Here we go again.
I want to present you with a stat and a figure here that people are going to struggle to believe. Of teams that were in the ACC in 2024, so this includes SMU, this includes Cal, this includes Stanford. Of all of those teams, NC State had the second lowest amount of nationally televised appearances with 5, okay? Syracuse tied for the second least with 5 as well. Pitt was tied for third most with 8. NC State had more total viewership across our 5 appearances than Pitt did across their 8. The total numbers, 6,678,000 total estimated viewers for NC State, 5,960,000 for Pitt. Syracuse, who had the same amount as us, averaged about 270,000 less viewers per game in 2024. So again, per game average, you're looking at a difference of 1,335,600 for NC State to 1,084,800 for Syracuse. Total overall, 6,678,000 for State, 5,424,000 for Syracuse. So again, this is not about, I think NC State is getting hosed just because I think NC State is getting hosed. This is not about, well, I graduated from the program and therefore I think it's unfair. This is about a program that nearly doubled you in appearances, did not clear the same amount of viewers, and yet that team is getting a nationally televised game, and we aren't. Again, it's hard to say there's not something funny in the water. It's hard to say that there isn't some shenanigans going on here, that there isn't some funny business going on. I'll tell you what, Kevin Hart counting money ain't as much funny business as what we got in this situation because, again, this does not add up. It literally just does not compute to say, hey, this makes sense. Even if you were to say NC State played Notre Dame in 2024, which I don't believe we did, but even if you were to say NC State played Notre Dame in 2024, and therefore they got a boost and the other teams didn't, even if we were to go that route, which I actually believe Syracuse played Notre Dame that year and we did. So not sure about Pitt, but I'm pretty sure Syracuse played it. But either way you cut or slice it, even if you were to make that argument, here's what I know to be true. Any way you go about it, that other team had 4 more appearances than you or 3 more appearances than you, period. That other team had 3 more appearances. Pitt had 3 more appearances than you, and they couldn't cut the mustard in terms of matching the eyeballs that you bring to the screen. So, again, I'm wondering, where are we getting the information that would lead us to say this makes sense?
If NC State finds a way to upset Notre Dame on the road, on Peacock, where nobody's watching, did it really happen? I guess we'll find out the answer to that question potentially in mid-October, but it's a shame to watch college football become victim to the streaming sites. We've already watched it happen to the NFL. You know, they're playing on Amazon some nights and NFL Network another night. It's so ridiculous across the board. For that to now bleed into college football, it's not something I'm excited to see by any stretch of the imagination. But October 11th at 3:30 p.m., NC State will be playing on the road in South Bend on Peacock and not NBC. We'll have to see how many Wolfpack fans end up making that free account. If they even offer that, they could scam you out of that too when the time comes. But just a shame to see it go down like this. It's an absolute shame. Coming up next, we're talking some NC State baseball. There's no midweek this week, and that means only one thing. All of your attention should be this weekend against Stanford. Pack the doke. We'll tell you why you need to pack it and how important it is after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Tuesday sponsor is FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances. There's major momentum shifts and simply cannot miss moments, and whether it's a game-winning shot or breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and with live player prop bets, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans now have more ways than ever to play smart and win big only on FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, now is the perfect time to sign up. Head on over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you can win up to $200 back in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Middle portion of our Tuesday show, now talking some NC State baseball. Like I said, we have no midweek game this week. We only have 3 games left in the regular season. Our last ACC series coming up this weekend against the Stanford Cardinal. This is your message, if you even needed one at this point. Pack the doke. It's the same message we gave to you when we played Clemson a couple weeks ago. Clemson was coming in the number 2 team in the country, one of the biggest series of the year for NC State. Ended up playing so well that we swept them in all 3 games, and the doke crowd was electric. That stuff matters, especially when NC State is still in contention to win first place in the ACC, which is something, might I add, that Elliott Avent has never done. NC State has not finished first in the ACC regular season since 1986. It's been a hot minute, the hottest of minutes, since we've done something like this. We are potentially 3 games away from doing so. Here is the cleanest way I can explain this. I know I was kind of ping-ponging around yesterday on Monday. This is the cleanest way to understand what is at stake for this coming week. So for NC State to finish first place in the ACC in the regular season, you would like them. It's not necessarily a need, but you essentially need to sweep Stanford. That's the easiest way to do it. You need to sweep Stanford, and Florida State cannot sweep the Dirty Foot Club. You actually need the Dirty Foot Club to win at least 1 game down in Tallahassee. If they sweep Florida State, that's fine as long as we sweep Stanford. If NC State loses a game to Stanford, that is potentially where it can get a little bit hairy. If NC State does not sweep Stanford and you win only 2 out of 3, at that point, you need Carolina to win 2 out of 3 at Tallahassee. They got to go down to Florida State and beat them at least 2 out of 3. And you also cannot have Georgia Tech sweep Duke. Can't have that either, because then Georgia Tech would leapfrog us and potentially take first place. So that is the cleanest way I can lay out all the scenarios here. Number one, like we talked about yesterday, NC State's fate is in their own hands here. They can handle their own business by sweeping Stanford. And might I add, you have one of the most favorable opportunities to do so as well, because Stanford is the weakest opponent of the 4 teams I just talked about. Florida State and the Dirty Foot Club have to play each other. Georgia Tech and Duke have to play each other. That's 2 good ball clubs as well. Stanford is 15th in the ACC. They've had a rough go of it. And in fact, they've only gotten worse down the stretch. One of their top players has already entered the portal. Like, he is effectively quit on the team and didn't play last weekend and surely will not play this weekend either. He's one of their top bats. So all the chips are in place for NC State to be able to handle their business here. Like I said, there's no midweek, so you don't have to use any arms before this series. You will have a full complement of your pitching staff, all fully rested, all ready to go, and you are at home, which winds me back to step 1. Pack the dope. Show out, support this team, and let's lead them to first place in the conference.
Like you said, Grayson, for the most part, it's in your hands. It is in your hands, and that's all you can ask for. You never want to be a team that's in the passenger seat. You never want to be a team that's in the back seat, because if you're in the back seat, you don't even got the GPS. You're just responsible for snacks and vibes. That's it. You are in a situation where just win out. Let everything else fall where it may. Just win out. That's NC State's job right now. Just win out in a home series against a team whose best players are checking out.
Yeah.
That's it. Do your deal. I know many people have talked about, speculated about, is Avon retiring? Is he on his way out? What's going on? Now's the time. If there were ever one to say, we're going to send Elliott Avon out with not 1, not 2, but a triple crown. I want the regular season. I want the tournament. And damn it, I want to take home the whole enchilada in Omaha. What would be a better time to do it? What would be a better way to send off an absolute legend, not just in NC State sports history, in NC State history, period, because you really cannot write the history of our university as a whole without talking Elliott Avon.
Yep.
And so what better way to send him off into the sunset than saying, we're going to go out there and win one for the Gipper. And I know that's a Notre Dame thing, and right now we are very nipped with those guys.
Oh, bro.
I get it. But this is a moment to say, hey, we are going to put on a show. We've got 3 games to play, like our lives depend on it. And if we play these 3 games right, we will be guaranteed a spot at the end of this thing in the top 4, which I'm pretty sure we have locked up either way. So you're getting a double bye. And you're now, putting yourself in better position to host than otherwise. Because, again, it's tough to say, hey, the team that won the ACC regular season and tournament doesn't host, but teams that are far below them in the conference standings should. It's kind of tough to explain that away. Doesn't matter what type of net rank. It doesn't matter what you're bringing there. It's tough to say the team that got hot and did what they had to do doesn't deserve it. So this series is immensely important. And again, I would never root for the Dirty Foot Club. I'll root for the Asteroid first. But
That's right.
if those clowns over there help us out while they're busy putting on their clown shoes and all that. And by the way, I got a bone to pick with another one of them, Isaac Shade. We'll get to you tomorrow, buddy. But the reality here is simple. This is a matter where, again, for the most part, everything is in your hands. Yes, you need a little bit of help in terms of Florida State not sweeping. That's it. That's all the help you'll need, per se. Take care of what you got to take care of. Worry about the rest later. Because you can't control that. You can't control what Florida State and the Dirty Foot Club do. You can't control that. What you do control, hey, I've got Stanford in front of me. Time to go chop down some trees. time to go ahead and get the Cardinal up out of here.
The best thing that you want for NC State is for them to control their destiny, and they have that. If you sweep Stanford, the absolute worst you can do actually is finish second in the conference. Now, you want to finish first, obviously, but the worst you can do is finish second. So many opportunities are still on the table if you just lock in for 3 more games at home and focus on yourself. I see no reason they wouldn't be able to do that this weekend at the Doak. And talking about the Dirty Foot Club, again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. I will never, ever, under any circumstance, pull for them to win a game. But this coming weekend, I hope there's one game that they don't lose. I'll leave it to you there. So we'll see how that plays out. The best thing is that NC State can focus on themselves, and that requires the fan base to show up as well. Because we were burned this past weekend, I have taken the liberty to already go ahead and look at this weekend's weather forecast. Potentially a little bit dicey on Saturday. I know people don't want to hear that, but this is where NC State can be potentially proactive and take control of the situation like UNC did not this past weekend. Schedule a doubleheader if you have to on Friday. Find anything you can do to get all 3 of these games in. There is no excuse for not playing all 3 of these games. If you got to play a doubleheader on Friday, do it. If you got to play a doubleheader on Sunday, find a way to do it. Whatever it takes, you got to get in these 3 games, and more importantly, you got to win them. So Wolfpack Nation, this is our call out to y'all. Pack the Doak, whatever it takes. If you got to watch from on top of the parking deck over at VC, whatever it takes. We need as many people in that little vicinity to pull for the Wolfpack and bring the juice, bring the noise, and this team can accomplish something very, very special, hopefully by the end of Sunday. Elliott Avent has never won the ACC regular season or the ACC conference tournament. You could potentially be in great position to do both beginning on Sunday after you sweep Stanford. So I believe a top 4 seed in the conference tournament will be locked up if you win. I want to say it's at least 1 against Stanford. Once you win 1, you're locked up in that top 4. But again, you gotta take care of business there as well, because otherwise I think you can technically be leapfrogged. So no funny business. Like we've always said, all you can ask for is a situation where you hold the pen. You control your own destiny. What more could you possibly want for the last regular season weekend of the year? Bring the juice, pack the Doak, and let's go win us an ACC title. Coming up next, we're talking about the ACC meetings that have just begun in Amelia Island. There's NCAA representation, there's ACC representation, big-time meetings discussing the future of the ACC. If you were in the room, what would you suggest? More on this after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second Tuesday sponsor is Monarch Money. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where the heck did all my money go? Between dining out, shopping online, and entertainment, sometimes it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes into play. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in just one place so you can stop managing your money and start building your wealth. Managing your money with your partner is also now smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all of the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's Monarch like the butterfly, money like the money, monarchmoney.com using code LOCKEDONCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for 50% off of your first year, only on Monarch Money. Last couple minutes of our Tuesday show, getting into these ACC meetings that are going down in Amelia Island over the course of this week. ACC representatives and representatives of the NCAA will also be in attendance. The NCAA president, Charlie Baker, is reportedly set to address the ACC leaders during the meetings. So, Kenton, my question to you, let's say that you are hypothetically a representative of NC State. What are you taking into this meeting in hopes of having conversations about?
I'm taking in, why is this the playoff format for football being discussed, where it's 16 teams and we have 3 at-large bids, but the Big Ten and SEC are guaranteed half of the field.
Right.
What if we are talking about doing things in the American way, which is a meritocracy? Why are we talking about these 2 conferences being guaranteed half, regardless of what their teams produced that year. If your fourth best team is 8-4, so the hell what? They're going to get in, despite other Power 4 teams that could have beaten those teams head to head, having better records. Oh, well, you were in the right conference, you were in the wrong conference, therefore you're entitled to or not entitled to a certain amount. That's ridiculous on its face to me. I am all for, from the beginning of the playoff format, I have been for every conference champion that's inside the RPI top 35 should get into the playoff. Automatic bid. If you're outside the top 35, you get replaced with an at-large bid because, let's be honest, the 45th best football team in America, according to the computers, 99 times out of 100, they are going to go in there and get their heads kicked in. So I want to see a situation where it's, again, true fairness, where it's, again, everybody earns their way in. And that's not what we're seeing here, which is really disheartening. So I want to see what the explanation is of that. And I want to know, what are our options? What is our recourse if we decide to not ratify that? If we decide, you know what, no, we're voting against that. No. If y'all want to take y'all ball and go home and tell the American people, we took our ball and went home because they refused to give us up to 7 potential slots. If your teams earn it, they can get in via the at-large bids. You'll have your guaranteed 3, and then you'll have more that can get in via the at-large bids. But if they haven't earned it, why would we give it away?
My thing on the CFP is I think the right amount of teams is 8. My reason being that I think there's even less than 8 teams as a whole that can actually compete for the national championship year in and year out. But, I mean, with it being 12 already, there's zero chance they rescind that and go back to 8 because let's call it for what it is here. This is all a money grab. Going up to 16 teams, it's about the money. Being at 12 teams to begin with, it's about the money. So they're certainly not going to go back to 8. If I was a representative going to these meetings, I'd want to talk about the transfer portal. One of my biggest gripes right now is these windows that they have going on here. It's nonsense to open them up in the middle of the CFP race or open them up in the middle of March Madness. You are asking the sport to continue eroding before your very eyes. You are asking for players to be put into situations like the backup quarterback for Penn State, for example. I believe his name is Bo Pribula. Had to literally leave his team. He grew up a Penn State fan. Leave his team in the middle of a CFP run because he had to enter the portal because he knew he wanted to play somewhere else. At that point, you've lost the plot. You are losing what it means to be a student athlete, and the pageantry of college football, it's getting completely lost. So I would want to see the college football and basketball, for that matter, both of their portal windows, they need a change. Maybe you need an elongated winter portal and a shortened spring portal, maybe no spring portal at all. What I do know, you have got to figure out a more sensible portal window for both football and basketball. You cannot keep going the way it's currently going, asking players to effectively quit their teams in the middle of a postseason run. That is blasphemy. And I can't believe it's even gone on for as long as it currently is. So let us know in the comments, if you were representative at these meetings, what would you want to talk about with the NCAA and the leaders of the ACC as well? That will do it for us here on Tuesday. Be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box, mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Wednesday for more. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.